I'm joined today by Carolina Barkat. She is a 3 Principles Facilitator, a mentor, a clarity coach, and also a fitness instructor. And she's also an Argentinian native, and she's been in the UK for 20 years. So welcome, Carolina.
Hello, it's so nice to be here. Thank you so much.
I'd just like to start by asking, because the subject of the series is Remap Your Life. So obviously 20 years ago you came across to the UK from Argentina. I just wondered, what was the story there? What precipitated you leaving Argentina to come to the UK?
Well, that was a huge proper remap. Well, I met my ex-husband and we're both working together in an educational place that I worked for a company that is sort of co-owned at that time. And we were doing this place in English for either for the very beginners, whether they were children or people that were learning English, or sorry, my cat is around, sort of 4 levels up to the top level that was for teachers and whatever. So I met him doing that, and we sometimes needed natives to speak, because say the level of English was too high, and we were doing the importance of being earnest, and that was quite a trick to learn and act. So we met, and then, as it happens in Argentina very frequently and very cyclic, the economy went really, really bad. So we're both working at the same place. People were not paying us. We were just living out of my credit cards. It was a mess. And I had been to English school since I was very little. So little that actually the first song I sang, being probably 2 or something, was in English. So it was in the cards. I always have an absolute passion for the language, for my school. But at 31, at that time, 32, I haven't been to Europe, and obviously I haven't been to the UK. So my ex-husband said, why don't we go? We try for a bit, see what it's like. We earn some money, and then we come back. Because I never thought I would leave my family. My whole family is there. And as we were saving and planning to come here, the economical situation deteriorated and deteriorated and deteriorated. So we took the money out of the bank, and they put, I don't know the word in English, but it's like they only allow you to take, for example, £50 a week from your bank account. People were just going mental, really, honestly. People were just talking in the street. It was a whole mental. I never seen that. Like, Argentina is very colorful with its history, and we have never seen that. And we were lucky that we got the money out and we managed to come here. And the minute I arrived, I remember coming on the 10th of December, and it was gorgeous. The colors, the different browns and greens, and it was so gorgeous. I felt home, away from home. I understood, not much the accents and the language, but I understood the people, the culture. But again, my schools were taught by proper, usually British people, mostly. So I realized how much that had been in my life without me realizing. That my dad had this vision that he always said, well, I would allow you to do other things as far as you keep studying English. And I did. And when I arrived here, and Maria was just, it was beautiful and it was incredible. And I felt home. And at the same time, everything was opposite what I have known so far. So, as you know, the cars were driving on the other side of the street. Also the driving wheel is on the other side of the car. My sense of direction was completely puzzled. We used the metric system. Everything here was measured in different ways. So people say, oh, it's a few inches. You don't have a clue what a few inches is. Oh, it's just like that many ounces. You don't know. So suddenly I was somewhere that was very familiar. And at the same time, everything was so different. It was a new world. So much that I used to, when I was to cross the street, I would look that way. And then my ex-husband will catch me from the back of me, like from the clothes or whatever, because the cars would come like that way, right? I couldn't drive for a year and a half because I couldn't trust my own instincts. So compared to the moment that I came to know about the principles, probably like 9 years ago or something like that, thinking about it, that was for me a paradigm shift. It was like the world works this way. No, it works this world. And it was so much information altogether. Also, when you speak a bit of English, people know that you understand everything. So they don't see that everybody has a different accent, and different accents are something they don't teach you at school. So people would go, oh, she speaks English, blah, 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 right? And there was a point that I honestly felt like, oh my God, I forgot everything I know about English. I forgot everything I understand. I don't understand. I would just, people will talk and all I would hear was like, blah, 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 blah. I couldn't process. And eventually I started dreaming in English. And that was the first sort of like transition into the new world, if you want to. But I have to give up trying. I have to give up everything I knew to be able to understand and go around a completely different way of doing things, going around life, even though everything looked the same, right? So again, compared to what happened to me when I saw the principles, very similar. Like nothing has changed much, but everything has changed. That was my experience. Sorry, a very long answer to your question.
No, that's fine. I did hear also, and I don't think you mentioned this in your biography, but were you an actress and musician when you were in Argentina as well?
Yeah. So my I trained extensively in acting, dancing, singing, you name it. And by 18, I was thinking, well, if acting doesn't go very well, my parents are telling me that I should go to university and have a backup plan. So, but full-time university meant that I would have had to miss on all the auditions and possibilities that I need to do as soon as possible in a way. So by 19, I got into the national cast of the most prestigious place in Argentina, the that had a permanent cast. And they only had people that were 21 years and older. But luckily, just to give my ego a little, they changed it for me. They changed for me to let me in. But again, what happened was that once you were going into that, you were sort of guaranteed you would have work for life, sort of thing. It's like probably in the United States, like having tenure. It's like that sort of thing. So once I got there, I was like, yay. And then you work your way up. So you start being in the cast at the back or whatever, and then you sort of keep training. And that was full time with full training, super amazing place. Very early in my life, I got a bit complacent, thinking, that's it, done, that's it, tick. So I wanted to do. Government change, and in a turn of events nobody could predict, they completely dismantled the whole permanent cast and whatever. They took it out. Years, probably centuries of that, being there, who would have thought, didn't exist anymore. So I didn't go to university as I was going to do medicine, and then I didn't have the backup plan of like, yay, So anyway, I was lucky that my career went really well. I specialized in musicals, and it was going really well. Musicals weren't common in Argentina. Then they put together the biggest musical I think there's been, which were it was in a place like they changed a place like the Madison Square into a theater sort of thing. Now we have this sort of arena things where we have concerts, but at that time I'm talking about, I think it's our 30 something anniversary of that, 35, 30 something. And they put together this $1 million musical that at that time is mostly like now saying the $1 billion. It was like unheard, right? And so, and I ended up being in the cast, and I ended up having one of the leading roles. So again, it was a huge, and we toured, and we were celebrities, and not like now, because when you are well known as an actress at the theater, only the people that go to the theater know you, sort of thing. But it was huge, and then it came a time where things changed, and they wanted models instead of actresses. So instead of wanting all the curriculum, all the all the work you have done, whatever, they wanted models. They didn't care if they knew how to act or whatever. So it changed, and I wasn't that well adapted for change. I thought I had organized my life as far as it changed within parameters that I thought it would change, that I could predict it will change. Like 3 to 6 months of having no work, that was, kind of normal. You would say for that, you will do other jobs. If not, that was fine. And tons of actors had no work. So we're now competing also for roles that are very small or they didn't even exist. And it was very hard. So I went and I worked in a surgery for a while and answered the phone, and I found myself very lost, very, very lost. And I actually had my first panic attack around that time. I couldn't take this huge change in life, and I couldn't understand what to do. Things were all seemed to be going wrong in a way. And oh, hello. And so I saw an advert for educational plays in English that were musicals, and they had a very, very bad pay, but it was monthly paid. So I went around and they look at me and they said, well, we don't take people that have the type of experience you have because we know you're going to go soon. So I have to beg for them to take me, and I promise them I will stay. So after quite a lot of begging, I stayed, and I stayed a few years. I actually stayed like 4 years. If that didn't happen, I wouldn't have met Michael, my ex-husband, and probably I wouldn't be here today. So we came here with a play we wrote for schools. We had an amazing time for a year and a half. We did really, really well. And then it was, well, this is really not, if we're going to stay, I want to go back into journalism, and I need like a proper job. We can't be like having, you know, a gig here and a gig there, and then we don't know what's going on. So he did. And I went into probably one of the biggest depressions that I had. I had medication. I put on a lot of weight. I felt really lonely. Those days, all we had was, I was just learning to do emails. I didn't even know how to use a computer. And if I didn't, my mom knew less than that. A call to Argentina was like 5 minutes, was like 20 pounds or something. So it was one call a week, and I missed them dearly. And I was alone because we had no friends. So Michael makes will go to study, to work, or whatever. I was completely alone. And I tried everything I could find. I tried NLP, and I tried, and some things really helped me out. So all this was new, was coming out, you know, new things. But I always tried and studied, and that's one thing I said, that if there's something I could say about myself, is that I never stopped trying. I never stopped. There was something in me that had hope. It took me several years. I had my daughter is 17 now, and I had no friends. So I was really going around on my own. And I remember the midwife used to say, you wait until you have that baby, because that baby is going to be the way to meet friends, have conversations, have things in common. And it really was. I had my baby, and I would walk around, and people will stop and start chatting, as you know, like, oh, so cute, how old is she, all of that. And postnatal groups, and that was the start of realizing that I was gonna really stay. But doing something different, I had to give up absolutely everything, because in London they were asking me, the managers were asking me for, I don't know if you call them managers, but they were asking me, they wanted to see me in London perform. And I said, well, this is why I'm here, because I need you to find me something so I can basically get some work. And Latin American accent wasn't trendy. So they told me that if I have a Pakistani accent, or if I have an Indian accent, I will be probably more sellable as an actress. But my accent wasn't. Probably today would. But at that time, Latinas were not the thing. So so that huge dream, that huge thing that I thought was who I was, had to go. And I thought, well, I love teaching. I have luckily a certificate that allowed me to teach Spanish, and I trained. I have to train again because a lot of the studies and equivalents weren't the same here than there, so I have to redo a lot of things, and I did. And I taught Spanish for several years. So yeah, that's the. Please do stop me if I talk too much, because I can talk until next week. So it will be a very long episode.
No, it's all very interesting, and it sounds, I can feel for you actually, because that sounds like a really hard thing for you to go through, that you were, all your dreams were being an actress, and you went to an agent who said, well, we can only help you if you either change yourself or you show us your work, and you know, you couldn't do that because you haven't, you know, you needed the work through them before you could, you know, it all sounds very hard. So when you came across the 3 principles, then did that change your outlook in any way? I mean, can you think of your life before you came across the 3 principles, and also how you were introduced to the 3 principles, and how it impacted you?
Yeah. As I say, I was always looking for something, because I felt I was faulty and broken, and I felt my reality of what was going on was because I've done all the wrong things, and there was something essentially wrong with me. I thought, well, you left your country, you left your family, now you can't go back, you made your bed, you have to go with it. It's what it is. And obviously you're not good enough. You're not wanted. And I kept looking and I kept looking. And in one of those, bless the universe, in one of those groups of play groups that were my salvation, because being alone with my daughter when she was little, it was hard work. It was like really, really hard work. And in those play groups, I was about to go to Argentina. And one of the things my daughter will play for a long time on the plane was what we call Play-Doh. I don't know, I know, or like sort of like plasticine, people call it other things, but then, you know, that thing that you can turn into different forms. So it was expensive to buy, you know, I will get her one of them, and then they will get full of cat hairs and whatever, because she will drop it on the floor and you have to throw it away. So I heard that you could make it at home. And so I asked, stood in the room with other moms and dads around, it was like, anybody knows how to do homemade Play-Doh? And this lady said, oh, I know, I can give you a recipe. It's really good, it's really easy and super cheap. You can make tons. And she said, if you don't mind, just either give me a call. I don't know, because in those days, whatever, if we're texting or not, you know, you lose track of like when we used to have this level of texting. For sure it wasn't like this. So, or she said something, give me a call or come around and I'll give you the recipe or something. And this is my dear friend Joe, that has been one of the most important people in my life in the past probably 19 years or something. So I went around and we started talking and the kids playing, and she gave me the recipe. Went to Argentina with tons of Play-Doh, and and then I came back, and we never stopped being friends since. And so I started having some homeopathy treatment, and that was working really well. It was working really well with my daughter. My daughter doesn't know how to take an aspirin. I'm not sure she's ever taken an aspirin. She struggles to take ibuprofen. Just because homeopathy works really well with her. And she's a very healthy girl, luckily. But so it was such a passion. I got interested. I started reading, and we were both very interested together. So we thought, well, why don't we do homeopathy, the career, and we do it sort of part-time, and then instead of 3 years, it will be 6, but we can do it. But the thing was, I didn't have the money to pay for homeopathy for the first year, and her mom gave it to her as a present, as a surprise. And so she was saying, but I wasn't. But she said, look, just look at all the stuff I got, and whatever I have, you can see and share and read and study. And by the time you have the money, you'll have it pretty much done. So that was the plan. And within the first year, some of the things you have to read, and then there's a few lectures, are from Ian Watson. And Ian Watson is one of the biggest people here in homeopathy. He wrote a few books, and he's absolutely outstanding. And then he went into finding other things, and they were really interesting. And I sort of kept me really interested, and my friend Jo. And then one day she says, Ian Watson, we can call it Ian at that point. Ian Watson is doing a weekend course in London. Should we go? And this was, I think, £140 for the weekend. And £140 for the weekend, plus staying in a hotel, even if it was a very cheap hotel, and paying for food, for me, at that point, was very, very expensive. But I didn't think twice. And I said, yeah, we're going. I don't know how, I'll find the money. We'll go. So we went. And I never read the title or the information about the course. And when we arrived, I have spent by then probably a good year and a half listening and reading stuff from Ian Watson. We arrived, and this man that I admired with all my heart says something that I felt was really stupid. And then he said, well, if you got it, you don't need to stay for the weekend. But if not, I will repeat this in different ways again and again for the rest of the weekend. And I thought, oh no. And the weekend was about the principles. He had trained to become a practitioner, and this was his first course. And I thought, oh, the more I heard about it, it was just so ridiculous, so simple. I said to my friend, oh my gosh, he's this incredible, intelligent man, full of knowledge, and he's talking about this nonsense. He's lost it. And my friend was like, well, I don't know. This is it's the holy grail. Oh my God, this is the answer to everything. I was like, oh, no. She's so nice, obviously. She's just so nice that she thinks everything is good. But very Jo, she's lovely. By that night on the Saturday, I was furious. because the cost of that trip, the how cold I was in that bit crappy room in London, and and I thought, oh, should I stay or should I go? Should I stay or should I go? And I nearly didn't go on Sunday, but I made myself go because I felt a bit bad for Joe and for Ian, that I thought he'll probably get over this, go back to what he does well, and then I want to, us to be in good terms. So Sunday, I didn't see it, and I thought, well, sounds all very nice, but I can't see it working in real life. And then we have a moment at the break, nearly at the end, and I was eating some nuts from my pocket, and then a squirrel came at my leg and got some almonds from there, went down, ate them, and again and again and again. I never had that experience in my life. This is a squirrel that we weren't introduced before, we didn't know each other, and this little beautiful creature had this amount of trust to come and do that, and again and again. And as we were with my friend Joe, we're like, she said, well, maybe this is about having a bit of faith, trusting. And something in me got hit. I can't tell you that I saw it. I can't tell you what happened, but something in me had that, I give up resisting, at least for the next half an hour. And I will give it a try. It wasn't even a doing. It was something I could just, like, my arms just sort of let go. It was I listened. If it was for another hour, I listened. And I came home, and gradually things started to change. And I started to see things differently. And within those months, I went to Argentina again, and my dad said cancer had gone back, but now was terminal. Came back without knowing if he was going to die during that week or what. I met Wayne about the next day. Wayne is here with us today. He's my partner. We had an instant connection. We didn't know what that was, and we're in very complicated. Well, I was married, so like I wasn't looking for anybody. So and he just separated, so he wasn't looking for anybody either. So we had a beautiful friendship for a while, but we have this incredible connection. And it was clear for me that my relationship with my husband had got to a point that none of us had the guts to say, maybe this is over. And I said that, I met Wayne on Monday, on like Wednesday or Thursday of that week, I said to Wayne exactly this. I feel that there's something that's not there, and it's not been there for years. But we love each other so much as people and as parents of my daughter that we wouldn't ever think of separating. And Wayne said to me, so what would you need to be able to remap your life, to change, to see things differently, to be happy? And I said, well, I have nobody here, nobody. If I separate, I can't support myself economically. I can't be on my own with my daughter. I can't do it. And Wayne said, well, you're not alone, you have me. In a way that if I say it's somebody that had only met 3 or 4 days ago, you would say, well, it's a lovely phrase, but it wasn't. It was so connected and so true that I heard that. And I thought, okay. And on Saturday, I woke up and I couldn't believe this was coming out of my mouth. And I said to my ex, I think we should separate. Expecting that this was going to be a long conversation of like, well, I don't know. And I would say, well, maybe we can do something and we can work. No. And he said, yes, thank you for saying that, because I think we should. I was like, oh, what? And it was a roller coaster. It really was. And Wayne was separating himself, and it was like a whole few years of hard roller coaster with my dad getting increasingly ill, and it was, oh, you know, all things thrown in. But there was something about the way we talked that first evening when we met each other, when he opened up in a way. I didn't sort of principalize him. I didn't say, well, it's just, no. What we had was a really connected conversation. And he was so honest and open that I felt I could ask him questions that I would ask somebody that I knew for a long time. And the same both ways. And I don't think that would have happened if I haven't found the principles. The whole thing, what came next, how my dad's situation got very badly several times, overdosing, things like that, and you can imagine all that, and all the things that come with separation, divorce, blah blah blah, changing work, changing everything, and my dad got very upset about the state he was in, and he committed suicide. So again, I knew that what I had seen had my back in the absolute worst times and in the absolute best times, and every single day. So doesn't mean I was happy or I'm happy all the time, or I mean, you know, I get, if something, my feelings have expanded to be, I feel them more. If I feel pain, it feels more fully intense, but it just lasts sort of, if I don't keep feeding on them, they just pass. And the same with happiness. Happiness is huge, you know. It's like this, you know. It's like I can have an ocean, I can have sea in my living room. It's like that sort of feeling. Is that and everything in between, because what I found when I understood or just about touched, you know, the surface of the principles, still am, is that there's something else. There's something else all the time there that I know, even when I'm in my worst moments, that tells me, Carolina, this is just now. even if I'm sure, I'm absolutely sure I'm trying to decide about the future, or I'm dealing with the past, or it's just now something in me has a certainty, a grounding, a calmness, even when I'm in my worst moment of desperation, that says you're okay. Well, that's how much.
I was going to say, are you going to write a book? Because your story is fascinating.
Oh,
See the
thank
film,
you.
see the series. Jennifer Lopez paying you, perhaps, I don't know.
I wouldn't mind, you know. I'll have to audition her.
Yeah,
See
absolutely.
if her accent is quite
Yeah.
trendy at the moment.
Yes. Definitely. So would you like to talk about your series, How to Connect with Humans? How did you come up with that title?
Oh, wow. Yeah. Well, I spent a good probably since I actually went to train with Ian Watson afterwards, and I have given up and decided that yeah, he wasn't talking nonsense. I wanted to do something. I wanted to do something, and as you know, we all get so passionate. We want to tell everybody, and and I wanted to do something. I wanted to the something wasn't. The more I tried to do something about the principles, the more my other work was like people were knocking at the door, like, we want more classes of Zumba, we want more massages, we want more, well, I don't know what I was doing, whatever I was doing. And I was like, no, because I'm supposed to do things with the principles. And nothing was, I was like, nothing was happening. And then eventually I thought, okay, principles, creation. I'm creating beautiful more stuff in my life, and I don't realize that is the principles. That is right. So I just like, oh yeah, of course. Where I am with what I'm doing. Not that I'm gonna talk about the principles while we're doing Zumba, but it was just the connection with people. It was just like seeing people with different eyes. Was like, I'm not gonna leave the room until I had like a moment of connection with everybody in the room. So my classes started getting like tons of people. Oh, because your personality, oh, because it's, and if I had time in the change room after, and they asked me, I said, well, yeah, I have a nice personality, but there's something I know. So that started conversations, but it never took to what I wanted was to share this in some way or form. And then the quarantine started, the first quarantine last year in 2020, about March. And everything went really quiet. Though I was still working online, it went very quiet. Wayne wasn't working because he's a driving instructor. So we had a bit of time of quiet and not having to go out in this busy life. And one day I woke up and I had How to Connect with Humans. We're going to do something with How to Connect with Humans. I don't know what it is. I said to Wayne, I put some pictures out of the internet together. I was like, it's something along this. So we thought, I had Chip Chipman as my mentor at that time. And we are luckily very close friends with Chip and Jan Chipman. Well, they decided to be very close with us and very sweet. And we thought, what about we do one talk on Zoom, and that's it. And that's how you connect with humans, and we find a topic. So we asked them, took a lot of courage to ask them. And they were like, yeah, of course, I would love to, love to. And then we thought, oh, we were like children in a playground. We looked at each other and we were like, should we ask Deacon? You know, because this was so ridiculous. It was like, as you say, it was like asking, I don't know, it was asking Jennifer Lopez if she wanted to play my role out of my biography. It was just whatever, everything goes. We have nothing to lose. We're in such a strange moment. And Deacon were like, I would love to. Yes, yes, yes. I was like, okay. Like, this was unexpected. And was it that we only needed to ask? And people were at home, and we wanted to bring a bit of hope and connection, and to tell everybody what we knew, that we're going to be okay, even if things didn't look okay, and that we didn't know what's going to happen, but we're going to bring as many people as we could to share about this, because we knew how it changed lives so much. And this was an opportunity that people had the time and the quietness to listen. So the one conversation turned into two, and then the series took a life of its own. It's just like the series decides what it does on its own. And we had a year and a bit with incredible people coming in, teachers around the principles. And just for you to know, Anne-Marie Purman is going to come to the series as well. So that's how good it is. And it's doing incredibly well. We decided to create a group and videos that would be completely free for people to use and to take wherever they wanted. So nobody has to pay to come to our to once a week to our Zoom calls, and they can ask questions, and then those videos are always available. So yeah, it's taken a life of its own.
So has anybody else got anything they'd like to ask, or Caroline, or any comments for her? Philip looks like he's thinking of something to ask you. No. So what's next for Carolina? What's happening next in your life?
What's next in my life? Oh, you know what? I could make it up, but I've been shown again and again that the universe has way better ideas than I have. So say next year my daughter is going to university and it looks like the whole world is going to change again. We're going to have to remap again. But I don't know, right? Like, I don't know. We don't know. And the great thing of my daughter's grown up with this understanding pretty much. And having somebody like Wayne by my side, we can just see what comes along and take it as it goes. What I know is that we are incredibly blessed and lucky to have these opportunities, to have people like you that are also doing this out of love and out of wanting to help people, and the money's just coming out of your pocket. And you know, it's so what's next? I don't know. Like, I didn't know I was going to come and talk here with you, and I'm so happy and so incredibly moved that you asked me. I have friends that I didn't have months ago, thanks to the series, and thanks to, again, thanks some of it to the quarantines, and that we could stop and connect and talk and see each other. So I can let you know.
Oh, I just think your story's been amazing, Carolina. I definitely want you to write a book. In the next few years, you need to write a book, definitely.
I may have to use this recording.
Just type it up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's lovely speaking to you, Carolina.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure. And I tell you what, I absolutely love also that you have your dog around, and as you can see, like Philip has got his 2 dogs, and I don't know if there are any dogs or cats around, but I can always see that there's something about the feeling that suddenly, like, our series looks like a zoo in 2 minutes. It's like cats and dogs and pandas appear. So we haven't had pandas as far as I'm like. So thank you so much. And if people want to find us, our website is backtobeingyou.co.uk. So back with the 2, being you. And also you can go to Facebook and find how to connect with humans. You can also ask me to be your friend. I usually say yes, or Wayne Yates. And please do connect with us if you have any questions, or you would like to share with us something in your life, or there's anything I can help with. I'm also on the 3PGC website as one of the 3 Principles practitioners. So I'm available to anybody that wants to have a chat or ask anything. And
sorry.
No, thank you so much for doing this. You have been doing this for a while, and we know that it takes it takes time, and it takes a lot of loving dedication. So it's an absolute honor to be here.
Well, you were part of my inspiration for doing it, so I've got to thank you. And also, I was going to say, I'm going to put all the links that you mentioned onto the YouTube channel. So I'll put it on YouTube, and under the description, I'll put all those links there so people can access it easily.
Thank you so much. And I will see you soon.
See you soon then. Bye-bye.